Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Self Care Sunday. My name is Pat. Thank you so much for joining me. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about spiritual practices to mitigate, work stress, life stress. These are practices I've used on myself, and also with clients that I've worked with for readings and things like that over the years, and they really do help. Now, before I get into that, I'm going to back up a minute here because I just realized my closet door is open. Okay. Now that that's done. So maybe some of you out there, and let's face it, there's a lot of stress in the world right now. There's a lot of scary situations, that are going on, not just with natural disasters and events going on. So as we continue on here, or before we continue on, I do want to take just a moment of silence, and send some of our love and our prayers to the people in Nepal who just suffered that devastating flood. I don't know if any of you have seen the images of that on video on YouTube, but my goodness, it looks like something out of a motion picture movie that was enhanced with CGI or something like that, but it's pretty wild. So our love and our prayers out to the people in that area, because I understand the danger is not over yet. But anyways, even if we're not in an area of that in the world, we may have situations, there's just, work situations sometimes, we all have had them where, maybe there's office politics going on, maybe there's some personality issues with other people that you work with, or there's stress around clients and things like that. Hello, Christine. Nice to see you here. Thanks for joining me on the live. So, anyways, or even in our life, we might have people, family members that we have to deal with and interact with, that we've had difficulties with. Maybe we've been estranged from them, or different situations just creep up. And over the years, I've used these practices a lot, and they're very powerful, and they really do help to mitigate some of the stress around those situations, and actually help to change them, a little bit more to the positive. Okay. Now, if you're new here, if you're new to my channel, my name is Pat. I am a Reiki master practitioner of something called Holy Fire Reiki. I give Reiki treatments, and I also teach classes in Reiki. So if something you're interested in, please be sure to check out my website, relaxlifecoaching.com. And, I also used to be a massage therapist, and I currently work in the very mainstream world of banking and customer service too. So I've used these techniques in those environments, and it really does help to shift the distress sometimes that comes up. So, and I wanted to share that on a YouTube. And if you like the content from today, I actually did create a PDF download for you. There's a link in the description box below that you can go to. You do have to sign in with your email and subscribe. And, then you'll receive from me, this outline of what I've gone over today, so you can have it for yourself. Now, if you're someone who is known to spiritual practices, some of what you're hearing today may not be anything new to you. Now, if that's the case, then, just consider this additional validation or a message that maybe you need to go back to some of these. Because I know, being a spiritual person myself, I've done readings for years. I'm very much pursue the path of spiritual and personal growth. But we all have times where we kind of fall off the wagon. Colette Baron Reed, one of the teachers and coaches that I follow, she calls it spiritual narcolepsy, where you kind of fall off the wagon with your spiritual practices. You forget, And then, you find yourself kind of mired in a situation and you're like, that you're very frustrated with and that's causing you a lot of stress. And you're like, oh, wait, I didn't take care of myself. I didn't take care of my personal energy, and work with that to help this myself to feel better, because we certainly all want to take responsibility for our own well-being. So anyways, that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm going to get into a bit more of it here. Okay. There's really two, main categories of practices. And within those, I have actually some specific techniques and specific things. Okay. So the first main category really is to clear your space. And I don't mean when I say that I'm not necessarily referring to clearing your physical space of clutter, although that is a good practice to do and certainly worthwhile because that does help us to feel better. And I know a lot of people out there they like when they're stressed being busy. And, one of the ways they do busy is by cleaning. And, I'm not saying there's anything, that's always a good practice too. I'm not one of those people. Oh, I do get there sometimes. But anyways, what I'm talking about when I say clear your space is your energetic space, your personal energy field, your own personal aura, the energy in the room and the area that you work in. Okay. And your living space too. So, and there's a couple of different practices that you can use, or techniques, I should say, that you can use to do that. One of them is that I've used for a very long time, goes back to my angel therapy training. I push at my hair a lot because it gets in my face and it kind of bugs me. So you'll see me do that a lot. Anyways, years ago, I took some training in something called angel therapy and was really introduced to how about working with the archangels. Many of us have had like a kind of a cursory understanding of angels. This training, I took a deep dive into it and really learned how to work with the archangels, who are the overseers of the angels, the guardian angels. And the most powerful angel to work with is Archangel Michael for clearing your space. Okay. Archangel Michael is powerful. He is an angel who helps to lift and clear the effects of fear. He's very strong. He helps to bolster your feelings of confidence. He can really help you to feel more empowered. And in stressful situations, usually what's going on is some part of us, feels diminished or ignored or treated unfairly. And we've kind of given our power away to something outside of us. Archangel Michael helps to remind us of who we are. And he helps to clear away this debris that is in and collects in our energy field. Okay. Because in office environments and other work situations, as we, other people have opinions about us or they, didn't like the way we do something, people often project their issues onto us. I mean, in general, people project their issues onto other people. But some people are aware of that. A lot of people aren't. So working with Archangel Michael to clear your energy field helps to lift a lot of that away. Okay. He clears away what I call the psychic debris of different, situations. And when I say that, you can kind of metaphorically think of it as like, as we go about our day, we go to different environments, interact with different people, and we collect there's dirt, dust, debris, stains, odors that collect on our clothes. And that's why we wash them at the end of the day. Well, it's kind of similar with our energy field as we interact with different people, go into different environments that have, different energetic imprints, we collect some of that debris into our energy field. And it sometimes can adversely affect us. I'll give you an example. So, in the banking environment that I worked in, I once I went to work in a new region at the bank I was working for at the time. And I was new there. So there's obviously a little bit of performance anxiety that you got going on within yourself. You want to, make sure you're doing a good job and being helpful to people, et cetera. But I was running into an issue where I was a little bit too worried about what people would think. I kept second guessing myself. I was making stupid mistakes, or at least I felt I was, where in situations where I felt like I really knew better and maybe should have been a lot more confident. And I was starting to get hard, kind of be hard on myself and get down on myself about it, like what's going on, what have you. Well, something reminded me to call on my angels, Archangel Michael. And I was like, oh, I forgot about doing that. So I called him in and put him to work in the technique I'm going to describe to you in just a moment. And, it really turned the whole thing around. I think I had people who were projecting certain issues onto me, or judgments, or, they weren't necessarily verbally saying it, but I think they may have been projecting things onto me. So it cleared that all away and made it, after that, it just was so much easier to go back into that workspace. And I stopped making stupid mistakes, and really was able to proceed with a lot more ease and confidence in, different situations. So, and I still continue to use this on a day-to-day basis, because I work in an environment where I can come across disgruntled customers and things like that. And so I work with Archangel Michael on a regular basis. So how do you clear your energy with Archangel Michael? Arst, you call him in to be present with you. Archangel Michael, thank you for being here and present with me now. And the way I was taught to work with Archangel Michael is to ask him to vacuum out your energy field. And I literally say those words, Archangel Michael, please vacuum away the negative psychic debris, escort away any negative or lower energies, lower entities, like prankster spirits, things like that might hang around. And, you can even visualize in your mind, if you are a good visual person, see him with you with a vacuum, vacuuming out your energy field all over, head to toe. See if you can visualize him going the whole way through. The beauty of it is Archangel Michael, as I mentioned before, he's very strong. He's very powerful. He's one of the easiest archangels to feel, and he can really shore up your confidence. And if you ask him to be with you, not only will he clear away the energy field, but he can help you feel more empowered in the next steps that you need to take, or that will be best for you to take. He's one of the archangels who's very motivating. So, calling on his energy to be around you you can suddenly feel a lot more motivated to take certain action steps. So, and it's really empowering, rather than feeling, kind of stifled and, maybe unable to make a decision because, you're nervous and uncomfortable. So anyways, that's one of the techniques, is ask him to vacuum out your energy field. Now, when people project, issues onto us, judgments, criticisms, what have you, visually, or I should say visually in terms of clairvoyantly, we call them cords. And so you can also ask Michael to cut the cords of fear, connected to, people you may be having an issue with, or a difficult interaction with. Ask him to cut those cords too. Now, cutting that doesn't mean that anything bad's going to happen to anyone. It's really just asking the angels to help you come in with like a pattern disrupt. For those times when we get caught up in a negative loop, I call it a negative loop, where you're rehearsing a situation with a person over and over in your mind. We've all had those times. I do too. You have a difficulty with someone, and in your mind and in your head, you're kind of rehearsing it over and over again. And part of that is because we really need to express ourselves. We want to be heard. And so, maybe writing it down, journaling it out, free writing it, go commando, get it all out of you. There's certainly nothing wrong with venting. We all have times where we've needed to vent about a work situation or a life situation or a person that we're, dealing with. This isn't about that. I don't mean, to say that we should just automatically, shut it up. We all have times where we need to, like I said, vent about it, release it a little bit. But what I'm talking about with clearing with Archangel Michael really does help to mitigate and to neutralize the effects of some of that, the issues that we're having with other people. And you can ask Archangel Michael to stay with you. And by asking him for that, he provides you some protection. Michael is, as I mentioned earlier, is a protective angel. So in any situation, whether it's with another person or just a life situation you have to deal with, or if you're going to head out on the road on a trip and you're concerned, and anytime you feel afraid or fearful, always a wise idea to ask Archangel Michael to be with you for protection. Okay, he's really powerful that way. So anyways, one technique you can use in clearing your space is to call on Archangel Michael. If you're not familiar with working with angels, you don't have to be spiritual. You don't have to be religious. All that's required is they just need your permission. You just need to ask and invite them in. Give them permission to work with you. And once you do, that's all that's required. Okay. It's a free will choice is what it comes down to. So if you've never worked with archangels, if you've never heard of them before, you can certainly search Archangel Michael, on Google, on YouTube. I'm sure you'll find plenty of information about him. There's lots of good books out there on Archangel Michael. But so that's one of the techniques that you can use to help mitigate some work stress too. Another one is a very simple and practical one, and that is the use of sage spray. My bottle is a little bit, the label's kind of worn, weary. But sage has long been known by indigenous peoples as something that can be used to also clear out lower energies, also to clear a space of, if there are spirits that have a lower vibratory, some people call them prankster spirits, lower energies, anything like that hanging around. Sage has always been known to help to dissipate those energies and to keep them away from you. Okay. But for general stress situations, you can work with sage spray by spraying it over yourself. I'm going to do that right now. I just spray a little bit over my head and around me. You can also, spray some on a tissue and use it to, wipe down your screen, wipe down your keyboard where you work, wipe down your desk, different things like that for a workspace or work environment that you might be in. And it just, again, it helps to clear out any and mitigate any energies that might be, and helps to provide a fresh start. I found interesting things happen when I use sage. Recently, a funny one was that I had just bought this new bottle of sage spray, and when I was going to work, I was using this kind of an old bag to carry my laptop and other things that I need to carry back and forth from work. And Yeah, it was just kind of like an old duffel bag, kind of dirty. So I had the sage spray that I was putting in it on a daily basis. And so it was getting the elements of the sage in and around the duffel bag. Well, not too long after that, someone gave me a brand new bag. It was actually more of a laptop bag. So it was more ideal for what I had to carry back and forth. And so it's interesting because the sage really cleared out the old, the used, the tired, and I got something brand new from it. But I've had it work in other situations too, um, with friends where we were, kind of grumbly and then we sprayed the sage around, and the next thing you know, within 15 minutes, we were all laughing. So it's really amazing sometimes the way these things they seem kind of silly on the surface, simple or silly, but they actually really, really do work. Um, and I've just found them to have a measurable help, um, especially with Michael in terms of protectiveness and situations. I can tell where he's really protected me from, um, a situation getting worse, or if I knew I was going to have to deal with maybe a difficult customer, and I asked for his help before I went into it. Either A, I didn't have to talk to the person directly, or B, it went a lot better than I thought that it was going to go based on what I had to talk about. So calling on him before you go into any situation, clear out using some sage. I'm curious to know if you know of any others. Either put it in the chat or you can put it in the memo, the comment section afterwards. I'd love to hear what other methods that you have that way. The next category is really to send love, peace, blessings, and forgiveness, which I know is not always easy in situations, especially when there's been, some uncomfortable situations that have gone on with people, or there's, personality conflicts with people, whatever the situation is and the difficulty that might be involved in it. Okay. And it's important to remember in this step that, or, in this category, that doing this again, sending, love, peace, blessings, forgiveness, really is primarily a way to disrupt or dissipate the drama that may be going on. Okay. To dispel, some of the ickiness of the situation. And because when we continue in that place where we're, thinking about that person, we're frustrated with it, we're going down, going down the rabbit hole in our mind of, maybe cursing them, they're such a blah, 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 you name it. That actually only adds fuel to the fire. It's like listening to really bad music and then saying, oh my God, that's awful, and then turning up the volume on it. So we use these practices of sending love, peace, forgiveness as a way to mitigate and dispel. And many times it has the effect of bringing about some kind of positive change, I would say, or some kind of relief. Okay. So in this category, and it's important to remember too that it isn't, as we approach, use this kind of spiritual approach, it isn't about saying that what somebody did or said or some way they behaved, it in no way condones that. It's not saying what they did or said or how they behaved is okay. Again, love is the most powerful force in the universe. In many more ways, it's more powerful than we can, necessarily always see or feel with our physical eyes. Because love is a force. It's more than a feeling, it is a force, like gravity or electricity. So it has an effect upon where you send it genuinely. Okay. Now, one of the practices that I use in this particular category is the practice of Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono is a Hawaiian technique for forgiveness and clearing. So it kind of falls into the clearing category too. But it's primarily composed of 4 simple phrases. And, to learn more about, if you've never heard of Ho'oponopono, again, there's many resources on the internet that you can look up, and there's books on it too. I personally got introduced to it through the book Zero Limits that Dr. Joe Vitale wrote with a practitioner of it called Dr. Ihale Akala Hulen. That name is a mouthful. But basically, it boils down to 4 simple phrases that you say when you hold the image of this person or this situation in mind. And the 4 phrases are, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Or you can reverse the thank you, and you can say I love you first and then thank you. Now, when you first hear these, the initial inclination is to say, why would I say, I'm sorry, please forgive me? I didn't do anything wrong. And that's a fair statement. But it isn't really speaking specifically to that. My understanding of those 4 phrases, I'm sorry for whatever it is in me, because what's happening out there in the world is often sometimes triggering or reflecting something within ourselves. Okay. We might not specifically behave or say things the way that other person says them, but it's holding there's something in us that's being triggered. So by saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I'm sorry for whatever it is in me that is getting set off or that attracted this situation, it could be, I'm sorry for whatever it is in me that didn't see the red flags. Okay. So I'm sorry for whatever it is in me that may have attracted this situation. Please forgive me for whatever way I didn't see the truth of something, or whatever feels right for you to say. And then by saying thank you and I love you, you're turning it over to spirit. I mean, these are spiritual practices that as I mentioned at the beginning of the live. So you're turning it over and asking God and the higher forces, the higher intelligence of the universe to resolve it. Okay. And by saying I love you to it, I have found it to be immensely powerful to hold the image of someone that I'm having a difficulty with and just keep saying to them, I love you. I love you silently. This is all done silently within, your own meditation or time by yourself. Okay. It's not something you have to actually go and physically, verbally say to someone. But as I've done that, and I've asked the higher forces for that person's well-being and to send them a blessing, it has changed as time went on, it changed the uncomfortable feelings. And whatever I felt from that person, like there was a situation at work where I always was kind of feeling like a person was talking down to me. And like, I felt like they were talking to me like I was stupid. Or that they felt that, the people who was doing the work that I do, weren't as smart as them or something like that. It was those types of feelings. And now when I deal with that person, they're very nice. They give me explanations for things to help me understand when I have to reach out to them. And I use that Ho'oponopono practice with them. And it helped a lot in a variety of situations. And so anyways, certainly if you're not familiar with the Ho'oponopono, maybe, take the time to look it up, but you can use it with any person or situation. Um, and I say a situation because even if it's not a specific person, if there's just a difficult, again, say it to the situation. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Or thank you. I love you. Um, and even in as a spiritual, someone who's been on a path of spiritual and personal growth, I work with spiritual practices a lot to help relax, to shift my viewpoints, or to shift my understanding, enhance my understanding, because that to me helps me to be better able to deal with the world and my life and be, um, I'm always looking for ways for things to feel safer, more at ease, more at peace, more relaxed. That's just who I am. And that's why I like, that's why my business is relax life coaching, because I love things that help people, myself included. I'm usually the first one I'm working on to feel more relaxed. Okay. And empowered. Um, so, but one of the other, in my years of spiritual study, and personal growth, and spiritual growth, I also looked into the Course in Miracles. And one of the wonderful quotes in there that I use a lot in this practice of, or in this category of sending peace, love, blessings, and forgiveness is, let's see, I want to remember how it went. It went something about, please take this from me and judge it for me. So you're asking God, the Holy Spirit, whatever, the angels, whoever you feel most aligned with spiritually, please take this from me and look upon it for me, judging it for me. Let me not use it as a sign of sin and death. Let me not use it as an obstacle of peace, but rather let you use it to facilitate its coming. And I always remembered that because it was so powerful. It was a way, basically, it's an act of surrender, saying, I don't know how to resolve this situation. I don't know how best to work through it. Can you take this from me and look upon it and judge it for me? To take it away from my ego-based judgment. And please do not let me use it as an obstacle to peace, but rather let you use it in your own wonderful way. Spirit has infinite number of ways for things to work out. Let you use it to facilitate the coming of peace. So it's that also, if you're not into the Ho'oponopono thing, that's also another, way of working with that, sending love, peace, and blessings to someone. Now, I have in some instances asked Archangel Michael to be with someone that I've having difficulty with, to either act as a buffer, or maybe to, clear out their energy if their free will allows that. Because everything is free will based. Angels can only help someone to the degree that their free will allows. So if at some level that person doesn't want, even unconsciously, the help, or subconsciously or spiritually, the help of Archangel Michael, it won't go there. But if they are at some level open to it, it can be of benefit in that situation too. So those are some ways that over the years, I have worked with different spiritual practices. And as I said, they've been immensely helpful. And I'll see if I can share a few stories too. I know years ago, I was going through, gosh, how many years ago is it now? I don't remember the exact number of years, but it was around 2008, 2009. So quite a few years ago. And I was going through a divorce, and divorces can be sticky. Those are, if people can stay amicable, which a lot of people do, that's really great. But in a lot of times, those situations, the walls and the boundaries go up. People become more difficult to deal with. Everybody's worried that somebody's going to be taking something from them, and nastiness can come out. can sometimes feel like you need to cover your behind 7 different ways. But at that time, I had learned a lot more about the practice of forgiveness, and what I'm sharing with you today about sending, love, blessing, and forgiveness to someone. So because I was uncomfortable and I was really kind of mad at what was, going on in the process of going into this, I would stop. I'd have to catch myself going down that, from going down that rabbit hole of thinking very negatively about my ex. Because we do want to blame them for any number of things, And so I had to stop myself and use that practice from the Course in Miracles. I stopped and I became willing, and I started saying, okay, I forgive you. I release you. I hold no unforgiveness back. You're free and I am free. And I made a conscious effort to try and remember the good that was going on and look for the good that was that was happening in the situation. Kind of like, when you look at something, you're like, okay, it could be worse, and like, sadly in the situation in Nepal right now, that's a horrific situation. So by comparison, things that we might be dealing with here in our day-to-day life are small potatoes, things could be a lot worse. But that's what I did in that situation. I looked at the good that was taking place. And each time I did that, the situation would lighten up. And it would be more amicable. Okay. But if I did get back into a place where I was really in the kind of like going down a rant and getting mad and, doing a lot of blaming, it would get worse. So it takes a conscious effort sometimes. But these practices that I'm talking about today do work. So I hope that any of you who are watching either live here with me or those who are watching this in replay, if you don't believe it, you don't have to, but try it out, see if it works for you. Okay. And if you've tried it out, maybe come back, let me know in the comments, how it worked for you. If you enjoyed today's video and some of the things that I've talked about, please hit the like button. Think about subscribing if you are not already subscribed. And as I mentioned earlier, if you are interested in having the outline of some of the stuff that I've talked about today, definitely there's a link in the description box, and you'll have to sign up with your email, confirm your email, and then I will be emailing you the outline of the things that I talked about today. You can also, find out more about me at my website, relaxlifecoaching.com. If you are interested in a Reiki treatment, a reading, a combination of that, if you're interested in Reiki classes, please visit that website. Now, before we complete today, let's take a moment, and I'm going to take you through a little guided meditation to help clear out our energies. All right. So just take a couple of nice deep breaths with me. Allow yourself to relax. And we will call in Archangel Michael to be here and present with us now. For whoever's here live on the video and also whoever's watching in replay, Archangel Michael, please be here and present with us now. Please cut any cords of fear, cut any attachments of fear that may be draining us, that may be draining our energies in any way. And take a nice deep breath. And just visualize, if you can, Archangel Michael cutting away those fear cords, or those things people have projected or may have projected onto you. Archangel Michael, please now vacuum away any negative psychic debris, escort away any negative or lower energies or entities from anywhere around us. Please clear out the rooms that we're in of any residual energy from other people, places, and situations. And really visualize Michael with his vacuum clearing out your energy field, vacuuming it out around your head, across your shoulders, lifting the burdens off your shoulders, going up and down your spine, all the way down your legs into your feet. And let's ask Archangel Michael to be with all of us for any situations that we may need to deal with. Please protect us, Michael. Please surround and protect us as we make any trips in our car or by plane or by train. Please protect us, protect our children, our families. And thank you for enhancing our feelings of empowerment, for shoring up our confidence and courage to step forward in whatever the next steps are for us to take. Excuse me. Angels work with your breath. So as you breathe, Archangel Michael will be clearing out your energy field. Okay. Well, I hope that little clearing out session helped you to feel better and helped to, well, I think, and I know you'll feel better as you go throughout your day. Because I know Archangel Michael and how powerful he is. So anyways, thank you for joining me for this episode of Self-Care Sunday. I hope you'll be back for our next one. And I look forward to speaking with you all very soon, as I'll be on with a reading for the coming month. Take care, everyone. Thanks so much. Pleasure to have you here.